Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm just going to give you an update on my IKEA Milsbo cabinet, the tall one, which I showed you a few weeks ago, and this is an update because I finally fixed all the lights and I've changed the shelves. Now what I've done is I've bought from a company called Plant Scraper, and I think they're located in Belgium, and they sell these acrylic shelves. This is a half corner one. I actually ordered 2 of these, and I don't need this particular one. It just doesn't fit to my setup. But as you can see, it has holes. So all the shelves have holes, most of them anyway, and it's very easy to attach lights because you can put a zip tie through here, these 2, and the zip tie will lie flat on the top and you can put the pots, etc. But anyway, if you're from Lithuania, and especially if you're in Vilnius and you have a Milsbo cabinet and you would like an acrylic shelf, half shelf, quarter shelf, whatever it's called, you're most welcome to have it, but you have got to be from Vilnius and you're going to have to pick it up yourselves. But as you can see, it's got the little notches here for cable management. So if you'd like this one, just send me a message, let me know. Now let's look at the actual cabinet and see what I got that's new here. We open up this and we open up these bottom bits. Now, just before we get to that, this particular weather stripping I left, but the rest of the weather stripping that I had, I've changed a little bit. And I bought myself this. And it's the perfect size to fit here. Right? And it's the perfect size to fit here on the sides of the doors, because now when I close my doors, as you can see, the weather stripping seals it completely. So that's sealed there, it's sealed on that side, and I've used it along the top as well, so that when the doors are closed, it's more or less fully insulated. The only hole I've got is up there at the top where the cables go through, but I intend to put a grommet in there sooner or later, but I'll get to it. Anyway, I've also taken away the 2 strip lights that I had at the top, and I've put in a mother light, which is hanging from these magnetized hooks at the top. The good thing about this particular one is that I do have a dimmer, so if it's too bright, I can lower it. If I want it stronger, I can put it up to the full way. Anyway, so what shelves did I get? Well, the first things is I got a normal size pegboard at the back. I got a tiny little pegboard here, and the only thing is I put a little IKEA shelf, but it doesn't sit straight on it. But what I usually do is I just fill it with water for the time being. One little plant, but I've got some of the clips that go with it. I got a tiny little corner shelf. Just to let you know that if you've got a pegboard at the back, these corner shelves don't fit here because there's not enough room on this side. The pegboard blocks it. Just to let you know, so if you're going to get these from Plant Scraper, these are primarily for the front sections of the cabinet. If you want them in the back, then you can't have the pegboard at the back. But I like the pegboard because it's see-through and it doesn't rot. Because I think the IKEA one, if I'm not mistaken, at least some time ago, they used to be made from compressed wood, but I think now I know they're white and they've got some sort of covering on them, so maybe they don't rot as much as they do. Anyway, and here Here I've got a U-shape shelf at the top, which I liked, and of course it's got the holes in it, so you know the one fan at the top and there's one at the bottom, so the air does circulate fully. Everything gets switched off at night. When I go to bed, I switch off this cabinet and it switches off the lights and the fans. There is another full shelf here. This one is quite thick, so the magnets don't quite fit, but as I said, the zip ties. So the two lamps that I had at the top, I've taken them away, put up the mother light at the top, and put one of the lamps here because it's enough bright light. It's if I have the two here, there's just too much light. And what I have then is I have a side shelf here, which I haven't got anything on there at the moment, but I did have some Hoya props on there. And I've got another little corner shelf here, which is a nice little stand for the ventilator. I have kept this is my humidifier, but I don't switch it on anymore because now that I've put these shelves in, now that I've changed the weather stripping, now that the doors are open, it's dropped to 66% humidity, but in the morning it shows 80. Late afternoon, it might drop to about 75%, but it's roughly between 75 and like 82, 83% humidity. So it's good humidity. Nothing is fogging up. The ventilation is working fine. I'll have to stick a prop in this one. While I'm talking about this tiny little humidifier, I actually got this from Temu. Now, if you're from the EU, I hope you know about the new rules that are coming into force from the 1st of July. The European Union is introducing a minimum €3 customs duty on all packages coming into the EU from outside of the EU whose value is less than €150. Now, at the moment, it is zero taxes or duties to be paid, but it's going to be €3 minimum, and it's also €3 per type of item or whatever its classification is. For example, if you buy a silk blouse that's costs under €150, you're going to pay €3. If you buy 2 silk blouses and the value is under €150, and that includes the transport costs, you have to add that to the cost price, for that's how customs works out the rates, it's still going to be only €3. But if you buy a silk blouse, for example, and a woolen blouse, but I don't think there is such a thing as a woolen blouse, then, and the value is under €150, then you're going to pay €6, because the silk blouse and the wool blouse are different category items. If you add into your order a really cheap, €1.50 costing potato peeler, plus the 2 blouses in your order, then you're going to pay €9 in customs duty, because the 2 blouses are different categories because of the material they're made from, and the vegetable peeler is a different category. So keep that in mind, because at the moment it's nil import duty, but from the 1st of July this year, 2026, it's going to be minimum €3, plus it's €3 for every different category. So if the category is the same and you've got 4 or 5 items, it'll be just €3 for the whole lot. But, to find out if your items are in the same category, it's a little bit complicated, because the paperwork to find out these things, it's a huge file to show the different categories for customs import duties. Anyway, These are from Plant Scraper. The other things I got from Plant Scraper, just have a look at this. No, well, this is my Hoya multiflora variegated. I have great trouble working out the light this, but I've moved it because I read somewhere that if your philodendrons grow in a particular spot, then your multifloras will grow in a particular, in other Hoyas as well. But you know, I've moved it, but it is producing some new growth. You can just basically see there. Now, these pots, I love these pots. They're available from all sorts of suppliers. Plant Scraper also sells them in various sizes, but Plant Scraper also sells, this is not a plug because I just buy these things for myself. They have these cover pots for self-watering because they're available in different sizes, widths, and it sits very nicely on the edge, and it leaves a gap at the bottom for the reservoir. I really like these. I like the color. I like the look of them. I like the fact that the pots fit snugly on top. They don't stick out. They don't fall into the cover pot, because then you have to fish them out somehow. But they are not the cheapest, and they're not available in all sizes. I know that Plant Scraper, I've actually bought two of these types of pots in the two larger sizes they have, and they don't make cover pots for them. But, you know, I'll solve that problem. Elephant in the room, you might be thinking, what is that? That is an Australian finger lime. Now, it grows somewhere between the Queensland and New South Wales border, so it's sort of like, you know, subtropical, almost the tropics. I've actually trimmed back all of the branches, which were more or less to there, because I read an article that you need about that much bare stem and let the top grow from there on, to leave about that much bare. Now this is inside, it's dying to go outside, but I'm just waiting for the nighttime temperatures to go up because spring has sprung. Heard a woodpecker yesterday. There are geese flying east, arriving from the west, and they must have been down south somewhere for the winter. They're coming back. My crocuses in the garden are flowering. I'd say 99% of the snow's all gone, just in a few little dark spots that don't get much sun. There's just tiny little patches of snow. But yep, spring is, and we've had like 3 weeks of sunshine and blue skies every day. That's going to change tomorrow. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. It hasn't rained at all yet this March. We've had only 5% of the rainfall we should have in March, so we're a little bit low on rainfall. But you know, tomorrow it'll rain, Friday, and next week it's supposed to be sunny again. So anyway, I have my little collection. This is a little bit. I have my collection of ducks. I have the Lauda Air, Belgium, EU, a Lion, a German football team, Austrian Airways, Lufthansa First Class, and Lufthansa Premium Economy rubber duck. But I don't think that Lufthansa actually hands out the Premium Economy ducks. This one I bought online. Now, am I happy with this particular setup and the Milsbo? Yes, I am. Yes, I am, and I'll tell you why. The plants in here are doing very well. Not all, but most of them. Now, this is Hoya species Saba RP013. I got this from Svetlana, whose channel is Firefly in the Room, at our plant swap in September. I've had it for 6 months in a prop box with proper lighting, etc., and it did nothing. Within 1 week of it being in the Milsbo cabinet, it has put out a new growth point, and I can see here little leaves, and there's little leaves here, and somewhere way there is another growth point coming out. So I don't know how long Svetlana had it, but I've had it for 6 months and it has done nothing. 2-3 weeks in this cabinet and it's put out a new growth point. I have another Hoya from Svetlana. This is a Latifolia Sarawak. Now I've had this at the same time, got it at the same plant swap. It's got roots, I can see the roots through the sides, but no growth point. So maybe this will just be a one-leaf Hoya. Maybe there's not enough stem in it. But anyway, I'm patient. The fact that the Saba has recovered, well, it hasn't recovered, it's put out a growth point, and there's another one coming out, means something to me. Now, the Sarawak, from what I've read, it doesn't need a trellis to climb. It's a trailing Hoya, as far as I'm aware. Now, I can't remember the name of this tropical cactus, but I was in a big box store and I walked past these cactuses hanging in the basket, and I noticed on the ground there were a few leaves, so I had to pick them up. And three leaves I picked up off the ground, and as you can see, they've sprouted quite nicely. A little orchid reject from my neighbor. Once it's finished flowering, she doesn't want it, so I've taken it. It's put out 2 new leaves. The roots are growing quite nicely, juicy, so it's doing well. My silver dollar has also, it's got new leaves here, and I know it's trying to push out a tiny little leaf there. It's got a few new leaves there. It's doing well in this cabinet. Don't know how long that will last. This Australis Lisa, it grows and it stops, it grows and it stops. It used to be in my Hoya room against a south-facing window, and this particular window here is a north-facing window, and it gets a little bit of sunlight from the eastern side. But it too has started putting out new growth. So things are looking good. And my Delta Force, it had originally 2 leaves. This particular leaf, it came with this one. This one it put out about 7 months ago, and it's put out nothing. And since it's been in this cabinet for a few weeks, this is its newest leaf, and it's beginning to get the Delta Force shape. That was the previous leaf. Now it's getting and look at the size. Well, it's not absolutely that big, but it's about as big as my palm. And that is a huge difference, and it's only done this being in the Milsbo cabinet. Being in my room conditions, and maybe the plant was too young to be in room conditions. I can see here I need another cover pot, proper one, the plant scraper black one for this particular pot. But yep, I'm so happy there. So happy there. Down here we have a Friedeck. When I put it in here, it had 1 leaf. Now it has actually 2, but they're not the largest of leaves. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens here. This is my Cupria. It's never done very well in room conditions. Hang on. Let's hook you back up. Get back in here. I want you. Anyway, I'll fix you up in a minute. It's in self-watering, and it's also in pon. See how you go. It's never really sized up for me. It's not like, Sydney Plant Guy's Cupria, which is huge, and I think his grows in room conditions, but that's Sydney, lots of humidity, etc. So, don't know. I'm just experimenting with the Cupria in here. The hardest thing for me with some of these plants is just to work out how much light it wants. So I play with them, I move them around, and okay, these are on the side and they're enjoying it better here than being directly underneath. They love that spot there. We'll just move your trailer to grow there. What else can I tell you about it? These hooks are very easy, you know, they just, you know, clip on. Wherever is the hook. So I will fill this cabinet up a little by little. I think I said, look, there's another anthurium which is not doing too well. This is a Anthurium magnificum silver. It's also from Svetlana. It's got a new leaf coming out. There's hope. There's hope. Actually, it's got 2 new leaves coming out. Now that has happened since I've put it on the bottom of the cabinet. It is an anthurium, and I think these yellow things, it's just being bleached or burnt. So it stays on the bottom. You like it there, you're putting out 2 new leaves there, and you can stay there. So, as I said, I love this cabinet now because I can see results. As I think I mentioned in the original of this particular video last time, I'm going to use this to grow plants up to a more mature size and then try to acclimate them to room conditions. If not, the emergency ward in the plant hospital is always ready to accept new candidates. So I'm now waiting on the Friday to see how it variegated, to see how it alocasia, how it grows there. I've actually got in there's nothing except an alocasia Friday corm which dried up, but I was going to throw it out, pulled it out, but I saw that on the side of the corm there's a new little growth point starting, so I'll keep you informed on that. And that's an where are you? That is what are you? It's an Anthurium crystallinum, silver bush or silver blushed, can't remember. Never ever grew well, but sort of died off. But I can see there's a tiny, tiny new little growth point. It's going to come out right there. So maybe it will come good. Maybe it will come good. We'll see. But I'm so happy now. The humidity's gone down to 61 from 66, but you know, no problem. I don't really hear the, I don't really hear the fans when they're there. But as I said, these are all on timers, which I control through a phone app. And I switch this one on 10 in the morning and switch it off somewhere around midnight. So as you can, I love this. I love it. I love it. And as I said, the weather stripping has worked extremely well. I don't even know whether I really need to put a grommet up there because there's not that much humidity evaporating through the top. And as I said, I like the top because the wires are all here. Okay, it's a bit of a mess on the side, but I keep the wires off the floor so that my dog doesn't get anywhere near them. So yeah, that's about it, people. I really love this. Yeah, and this weather stripping here was the best for between the doors. And this foam one is perfect. Perfect. It's about the width of a finger, and it's soft and spongy so that when the door pushes against it, it forms a really nice seal. I'm sure this is available in most hardware stores, etc., etc. So yeah, this is the final look of the setup. Unless something, you know, really interesting and drastic happens in here, I'll show you and I'll keep you up to date. But for the time being, what I will plan to do for my next video, and I'm sure I'll do it a bit sooner, is I would like to share some of my what I consider to be big plants. So it'll be a big plant showcase next time I get around it. And eventually I'll get around to Hoyas. Most of my Hoyas are alive and well, and I'm constantly fighting mealybugs. But I saw an interesting interview with a grower from Indonesia who said that Hoyas and mealybugs have a symbiotic relationship between them. Apparently, and this is his words, the Hoya needs mealybugs because the mealybugs produce a tiny little sticky sap which ends up on the leaves, and that attracts ants. And the Hoya needs ants to pollinate the flowers. The ants won't come to the Hoyas unless there are mealybugs producing the sticky sap, a little bit like aphids produce a sticky sap on branches and leaves to attract ants. Well, this is the symbiotic relation between the Hoya and the ants and the mealybugs. The Hoya needs the mealybugs who produce the sugary sap, which attracts the ants, and the ants running around on the Hoya, which when it's in flower, it suddenly is pollinated by the ants. So that's not my word, it's the word of a Hoya grower, a huge garden center in Indonesia. And I found that to be very interesting information because we all know Hoyas are extremely susceptible to mealybugs. And I've given up all pesticides, given up. The easiest thing is just take the plant in the shower and hose it down and keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And eventually you will see that you either have very few mealybugs or you can't find any mealybugs at all. At the moment, I'm from lots of mealybugs down to a few mealybugs. But I can see little babies being born now because it's springtime. Anyway, I hope you are all well, those of you in the Northern Hemisphere. I hope you're getting a really good feeling of spring. I see that in the United States, they're having storms and things like that, which are a little bit late. But, it's only the very beginning of spring and everything can happen. So please, I hope you're well. We're all getting ready for the growing season to explode, and the Southern Hemisphere is getting ready for the growing season to slow down, depending on where you live in the Southern Hemisphere, because there's a lot of tropical countries and states in the Southern Hemisphere. It won't make any difference to them. Anyway, I hope you're all well and see you next time. Bye.